What's going on, everybody? Sean Pierce Johnson here, and let's talk about strings, baby. Yeah, I know I got a little cheesy there, but we're seriously going to talk about strings, specifically Ernie Ball strings, and more specifically, the Ernie Ball Paradigm strings. Now, I've been using Ernie Ball strings pretty much since, I want to say I was like 14 years old when I got my first set of Ernie Balls, and it wasn't this color package, it was the pink package, because I had only been playing for like 2 years, and, well, you know, you don't have much calluses when you first start out playing, and then I would progress to the other packages, and, you know, I went to the green 10s, and finally settled on the 10 to 52 skinny top, heavy bottom Slinkies, and I have been using these strings for a very long time. I've probably had these strings on more guitars than I can imagine. I've bought countless packages, and up until, say, last year when I got hip to the Gabriel Tenorio strings and started really enjoying using those, these were the strings that I went to 100% of the time. I would not buy anything else. And that even came as string companies started introducing new types of strings, new longer lasting, more durable strings. I mean, heck, Ernie Ball is no stranger to that. From the Cobalts to the M-Steels to now the Paradigm. And I will just go ahead and read the back of the package on the Paradigm strings for you, just to kind of give you an idea of what exactly Ernie Ball is going after here. Superior break resistance, unparalleled durability. Paradigm, the most advanced guitar strings ever created, represent everything we believe a string should be. Break resistant, longer lasting, and durable under the toughest playing conditions. More importantly, Paradigm delivers the iconic Slinky tone the world's greatest guitar players have counted on for over 50 years. They guarantee these strings for 90 days. Well, as far as I'm concerned, let's look at just the standard Ernie Ball strings also. Manufactured in the beautiful Coachella Valley of Southern California, it's a desert, it's hot, it's not that beautiful. Coachella's warm desert climate, warm? Really? Just warm? It's fucking hot. Desert climate coupled with the prevailing ultra-low humidity makes this region perfect for producing the finest and freshest strings. Our new Element Shield packaging resists humidity and keeps your strings as fresh as the day they were made. Well, from what I can tell, these strings should also sound exactly the same, but for all the marketing speak about durability and about tone and longer lasting, my experience has always been that these strings that are special and cost in upwards of $10 to $12 a set, they always just are like normal guitar strings. There's nothing terribly spectacular about them. There's nothing really all that longer lasting. I still feel like after a month I want to change them. So instead of going with my preconceived notions about this, we're going to put the skinny top, heavy bottom Ernie Ball Slinkies up against the 10 to 52 skinny top, heavy bottom Ernie Ball Paradigms. We are going to be using the trusty Les Paul Studio today to do this test, as we normally do with these kind of things. And I right now have an old set of Ernie Ball 10 to 52s on there, so just for sake of having a control for an old set, let's listen to the sound of a few chords and a few leads going into an Joyo Bantamp Meteor into an orange PPC 212 in the other room, mic'd up with a Cascade Fathead ribbon mic. We're doing a clean sound right now, and this is the middle position. Probably should have tuned the guitar before I started this video, you know? There we go. get a little crunchy. So yeah, there you go. A little test and kind of a control for our little experiment today. That's an old set of 10 to 52 Ernie Ball Slinkies. So now let's go ahead. We are going to switch over to a new set of 10 to 52 skinny top, heavy bottoms. So bear with me a second while I change strings. All right, we got the fresh Ernie Ball Slinkies, the normal 10 to 52 pack, not the Paradigms. And as you can see, my guitar headstock kind of looks like a tree with a lot of pine needles on it. Because like I said, I'm going to save these strings after we take them off this guitar and put them on another guitar. So how exactly are we going to test these two sets of strings today? Well, first being the tone, because that's the most important thing, to me at least. For all the marketing speak, like I said, what matters most at the end of the day is the tone of the strings. If the tone's not there, it really just, you're not going to end up using it. And for my money, $5 for a pack of strings that sounds this good is a pretty great deal. The other thing that we're going to test is we're going to see just how well the strings can maintain pitch. The best way that I like to do that is I have a stretching and playing way that I stretch out my strings in order to get them to stay in tune quickly. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I stretch the strings, and then we'll see how well they maintain pitch. Right now everything is pretty well in tune. Before I started playing, strum a G chord, strum an A chord. Not too bad, fairly well in tune. So now let's go ahead and bring all the strings up to pitch. Just so you guys know, I'm tuned half a step down for this. Just so for those of you who are following along at home. This particular guitar, I don't take out of anything above half step, just because of the various injuries that it has had to the neck. So let's strum those two chords again, and we'll just go with the bridge position here. Cool. Now, stretching the strings. The way that I like to do it, we'll switch over to the guitar cam here. Now, this is the way that I like to stretch the strings. It's not pulling up and out, because that's not the way that strings bend when you're actually playing the instrument. Strings get bent up and down the neck like that. So what I do is I take my hand, kind of make it a little wrenched like that, and I anchor my 4 fingers on the string itself, and then take my thumb and then push with counter pressure along the entire length of the string like this. The thumb goes down and the fingers go up. I work from the bridge to the nut, and then from the nut back down to the bridge. Now that's kind of simulating the bending motion that you're going to get from normal guitar playing. So we'll go ahead and we'll go through the rest of these strings. There we go. Okay, we've got to that, and now let's hear how beautiful this thing sounds. All right, that's normal for the first string stretch. You're not gonna get him to stay in pitch right away. So let's tune it back up. Okay, now the next step in when it comes to getting strings to pitch for me is I actually just like to start playing. It could be just songs, but I really like to get a lot of bends in there. So I'll start doing some really silly kind of licks. Now, the reason I like to do this method is because to me, it's natural string stretching. You're not overexerting the string. You're making it susceptible to your natural movement. Strings are probably next to, they're one of those things that they contribute so much to your tone, but it's really a personal preference thing. And, I know guys that play these same sets of strings and they don't have the same kind of tone that I do. It's a lot up to your hands and what you make the guitar do. As a matter of fact, I have a fairly heavy-handed attack. That's just, that comes from my years of playing. And I've noticed that certain times on certain guitars that the pitch will waver in and out. So this guitar had to be adjusted for that. I wasn't trying to play well there. Again, this is exaggerated bends, exaggerated playing. You can do silly stuff like that. So, after all that, let's see, back to the G and the A, how this thing sounds. Let's go back to the clean tone. Not bad, not bad. Let's see how far we are from pitch. High E's doing pretty good. B string is only just a little bit flat. Same with the G. D string is great. Just a little off of the A string and the E string. There you go. There you go. They stayed in tune pretty well through all of that. So that didn't take much time at all. Again, one of the big factors that a lot of people don't take into consideration with tuning stability is your intonation. You really, if you start changing gauges of strings, you really should take your guitar to somebody that knows how to adjust intonation and action and things like that. A lot of these little adjustments contribute greatly to tuning stability. So, lucky for me, I have some pretty talented friends, and that means the world to me that they want to help me out and work on my instruments. So, I love the tone of these strings. It's familiar. It's exactly the kind of tone that I would want from a set of strings. It's well balanced. There's good, tight, low end. The mids are nice and cutting, but at the very same time, when I go to play rhythms, they sit nicely. They're not overly bright. They're not ice picky. The highs are nice and mellow and smooth. Even acoustically, it's just a really nice, well-balanced sound. I really, to me, this was the benchmark of what guitar strings should be, were the Ernie Ball Slinkies. So now it's time to go and switch over to the Paradigms, see how they compare tone-wise, and then see, well, you know what? Let's put some of the durability to the test with some of those extreme bends, shall we? Alright, we have got the Ernie Ball Paradigms on the Les Paul now. It's a lot neater on the headstock, as you can see. No more pine needles. So, let's stretch these things out and see how easily we can get them to stay in pitch. If you remember, the Slinkies didn't take much at all. Really just a stretch and a little bit of playing around, and they were pretty much staying in tune. So let's go ahead and do the same method. Again, with the 5 fingers, kind of make a little clamp and go from bridge to nut. I don't know, that might be a good avant-garde tuning. Maybe a fuzz pedal I could be in Sonic Youth. Anyway, let's go ahead and tune this thing back up to pitch. Now I'll just go for some silliness. But yeah, you know, natural kind of motions. I just don't like the idea of taking your guitar, laying it flat, and then pulling up and out on the string. It's just, you don't normally do that. That's not natural motion, and that is definitely going to cause some string breakage. Seen a couple times. All right, let's see. Sounds okay. Wow, the G string actually barely went out of tune. I'm really, they kind of went the same way as the Slinkies. They took a little bit of stretching, some extreme bending around, and they pretty much stayed relatively close to pitch. They didn't particularly get there any faster. I was surprised with the G string, though. That was definitely surprising. Just a little bugaboo about my experience with putting the Paradigms onto this guitar in general. The packaging is a little redundant, if you ask me. We start out with this really cool cardboard box, but inside is another layer of packaging, which I guess, you know, helps keep the strings fresher, longer. I don't know, it just kind of seems like this is nice, and it's a nice touch, but if the strings are just in this packaging anyway, I mean, you can clearly see that these are Ernie Ball Paradigm strings just based on this particular package. You're not going to confuse this with any other set that Ernie Ball makes. So who knows? This could just be something that they decided to do for the initial launch and the initial run. But, you know, you could just go ahead and put the standard, you know, ever fresh packaging, and you know, everything is going to be fine. But the important part, of course, is the tone, and that, I feel, I like it. I think it sounds pretty comparable. You got the slinky tone. The strings do feel a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for here? They feel a little bit more metallic? I don't know. They're supposed to have some sort of coating on them, I think. At least that's from what my research tells me. They've got some sort of everlast coating that Ernie Ball likes to put on the strings, but they might have... They might have a little bit more brightness to them, a little bit more crunch to them. They kind of feel that way. Acoustically, they're still a pretty well-balanced set. Let's go back to that clean tone. Go for the middle position. Crisper. There's a little bit more of a bell-like quality in the low end. The highs are a little bit crisper, I think, but still they maintain a good balance. I don't feel like any frequency spectrum is sticking out more than the other. I mean, really, they sound great. I think that they definitely have something here as far as just composition of the string. As to whether or not they're actually going to maintain the tune and be as durable, I mean, who knows? We're just going to have to wait and see. We have 90 days. So, yeah, 90 days. That's pretty long. So I guess the 90 days kind of justifies the 15. God, if a string set costs $50, it better be pretty damn good. Anyway, yeah, I like them. I think they're fine. You know, they're not too unfamiliar. The tone is right there. That's one of the things I heard about people experiencing the Cobalts and the M-Steels, is that they had a different sound. These don't sound any different. They sound very, very similar to the Ernie Ball Slinkies that I already have. Let's see if we can test a little bit of this durability. The one thing I will say, you're not really going to be able to notice, but the windings at the end of the string, right at the ball end, they're just a little bit longer. A little bit longer than your standard Slinky. But they're certainly not the long twists that you get with the Gabriel Tenorio strings that I love so much. But they're just a little bit longer. So that might be some of the stability that you get there. It's a little bit more reinforced. Let's go ahead and see what we can do to kind of just really abuse these strings. I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit of some of my songs for you guys, here, there, and everywhere, and we'll see how much abuse these things can take. Okay, that was a little exaggerated, but at the very same time, we had to smack these things to really see what they can hold up to. Obviously, strings will break. They will. Even these will break. I know I saw a video of Captain Lee and Paul Gilbert putting a high E string to the test, and it was able to get above an A sharp, something like that. I don't know. But hey, I mean, so far they sound great, and hey, I got 90 days to see if these things either sound bad or if they break, and apparently they're guaranteed, so... You know, even if they were guaranteed, I still probably wouldn't go to the store and try to get my money back, you know? You spent the money, you got what you needed out of them. At the end of the day, all this marketing speak about durability and strings lasting. At the end of the day, it's all about how the things sound. It's about how they make you feel when you want to make music. To me, these Paradigm strings, they feel very familiar, they feel very good, they sound nice, I can get all the tone out of them for my sound and for my music that I like. I'm pleased with them. I'm glad I had a Ernie Ball promotional gift card from the band's Warped Tour for $10 off, so I basically ended up paying $5 for this set of strings. So there you go. Ernie Ball's not paying me to do this review and this comparison for you guys. I had sets of strings, and I wanted to see if these things lived up to the hype. I do want to give a quick shout out to my buddy Ben William Welch, who watches these videos and recommended that I check out the Paradigms. He really likes them, and I gotta agree with you, Ben. These strings, they sound really good. They feel really good. Again, $15 for a set of strings. My God. It seems like a lot of the big brands are trying to compete with the boutique brands in charging upwards of $15 for a set of strings. Obviously, there are strings out there that cost more, and I know from experience, I've bought those strings. But man, for something that you have to change regularly, that's a pretty hefty investment. So I hope that these last as long as they say they will. And if they do, I will let you guys know. If they don't, I will let you guys know. But for now, I'm going to enjoy the Optimas on this particular guitar. I'm getting ready to track some new songs with my band, so I am definitely going to be putting them through the ringer, and we are going to have a grand old time. And now I want to know what you guys thought of these Ernie Ball Paradigm strings? How do you think they stack up to the normal Ernie Ball Slinkies? And if you have played them yourself, I would love to know about your experiences by leaving a comment below. And when you see it, please click the subscribe button as we get ready for GitCon 2017. Thank you so much for watching this little review, and until next time, I'm Sean Pierce Johnson, and wish you all great tone and happy stomping. Cheers.